keeps me interested, and I read many books that helped me find more, I guess if you can call it courage. And courage, I believe, well, it's my thought, my opinion, that courage is a little taboo these days because courage can take many forms. I know that by reading an article on Wikipedia, courage is not the same thing when viewed by the Greeks and Romans. Well, they kind of interrelate, but in general, courage means from the heart. It means following your intuition. Yes, with fear, but also with confidence, and making these combine, not in excess, not too much courage, not too much confidence. Sorry, pardon me. When you combine those and they are well balanced together, well, it can make pretty interesting results. I am proof. I am not gonna brag about myself, cause yeah. So I read some books that helped me in my quest of knowing myself, of course, but also of getting some of that courage, to overcome some of the obstacles I have and had, especially in the past, because I felt stuck and lost. By reading, I did find more answers. So I'm gonna start by saying that one of the most important literature I find is this one called Flow that is more kind of like related to psychology in some way. And I'm not like this person who loves reading about okay, I do. This book is especially interesting because there are many answers. Flow by how do you pronounce that, right? Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. I don't know how to pronounce this book by. I don't know if you can see it. Well, this book Flow was gonna be a second read for me. It was really enjoyable to read and to learn about myself, but also about psychology in general. So again, Flow. I'm gonna link it down in the description. And of course, more like if you want to find inspirational stories, this little thing, Story of My Life by Helen Keller, which is a known character in history, if I can say it like that, because she studied at Radcliffe College, and she was blind and deaf. So she was completely cut from the external world. She struggled because since she was 1.5 years, I think, she wasn't able to see, to speak, to communicate, and as a child, she still managed to write a couple books, be an activist, a political activist for handicapped people in America, and if I'm not mistaken, it's in America. And yeah, she's really a role model for not necessarily people that are handicapped. I don't like saying that word because I find it that it brings maybe people with disabilities, kind of. I don't even like saying disabilities. People are people. Anyways, I digress. The Story of My Life by Helen Keller, really great book, inspiring. She studied at Harvard. I think she started by studying physics and math and all that stuff. She found out later that it wasn't for her, so she went on and kept going and studied literature, and it went well for her. She was able to learn to talk, to speak, and to write, pretty much to express herself, despite having her challenges. I prefer this. Her challenges, because we all have them. So her challenges. She went on and was one of the brightest person, and maybe more than I'll ever be. really inspiring story, The Story of My Life by Helen Keller. Highly recommend reading this book if you need a little push when you lack inspiration, motivation, whatever. I find this book really great. Again, it's gonna be linked down in the description. The last two books are gonna be more dedicated to people with MS. Yep, multiple sclerosis. Probably a lot of people have heard of that one. Managing MS Naturally. I heard it from a YouTube channel. I think her name is Izzy MS, and she talked about this. She had pretty great results. I mean, her myelin did regenerate, and she's been able to run marathons and do a bunch of stuff, which I find really inspiring. She's been following this, Managing Multiple Sclerosis Naturally. Judy Graham, who wrote this when there were not any treatments, anything for people with MS. If you were diagnosed with MS, it was pretty much good luck and hopefully you don't die. No, I'm bringing this to an extreme, but when you were diagnosed with MS, there wasn't as much information and as much treatments, and so I mean, sure, MS drugs are important, but when you feel you have more control, why not read a good book? And Managing Multiple Sclerosis Naturally is an interesting book to read. Either you have MS or not, or maybe you know someone who does. I think this book is great. But one book I recommend before you go through Managing MS Naturally, read this, Overcoming Multiple Sclerosis, which is based on holistic studies. It's scientific. Some people would argue because it's holistic, it's not entirely scientific, but everybody can argue. Some would argue also that the studies were kind of limited. There were not enough patients to show that there was a significant benefits of just following what's in this book. But I think that this book is really interesting. By reading this book, Flow, for example, a dancer that enjoys dancing will just focus, it snap. They won't, it's gonna be a flow, it's just gonna come naturally, and they're not gonna think about time and being stressed. So flow is important. Reading about the psychology in a book written by a professor is an interesting thing. I cannot pronounce English. I'm getting tired, I think. When different triggers happen in life, if I can say it like this, then we only have one of two choices to choose. And this is to let go and give up on all that we thought was meant for us, or we can stand up again and adapt. Maybe something good can still happen out of our efforts, but nothing is guaranteed. That's just how things work, I guess. But if we choose to move forward despite the speed and timing, then probably better ideas are to come for a brighter future. While truth is life, and certainly we are not living in some kind of movie or novel where things maybe they work well in the end. From some of my short experience of this thing, maybe if we can call it life, I barely started studying one thing that I knew I wanted, or at the least I thought would be good for me. A better presentation would be that in my head things were all set. I'd go to college, then university, and I would teach in high schools, right? Wrong. Everything maybe you might think happens suddenly and you think everything was planned out, but then what? You feel maybe stuck in a rut, but whatever might happen, life keeps going. move forward and adapt. Don't cross arms and stay still just because things don't happen how you thought they would. It's all part of a bigger plan than you thought. At least that's where I'm heading. I have faith. Adapt to any trigger because that is what will build your future character. And one day, of course, if you did all that well and you have been adaptable like water, then maybe one day you will look back and tell yourself how you got there, but you did. Everything starts to go right before your eyes. It just looks, feels right. And you are more inspired to keep going because either ups or downs in life, you know they will come and you know they will go. Pretty much like a roller coaster. It goes up and it goes down. There are spikes and there are lows. You connect the dots only when you're moving forward, not when you're moving forward and looking at the past. You only connect the dots when you look backwards, meaning in the past. It's not me who said that, it's actually a guy named, you probably know him, Steve Jobs, the Apple founder, not the fruit. I had to bring that up, I don't know why, but I had to. If any of you did like this video, please leave it a big thumbs up, and really thank you. Your support means a lot to me. Don't forget, leave a thumbs up, subscribe, I'm gonna leave it somewhere in here, and leave me some of your thoughts. What made you reconsider your life in some way and gain maybe an experience that made you gain some perspective? I'd like to know. Let me know in the comments. I'd be so happy. See ya.